Estamos prontos para o TEDxFunchal.
This is the title of my talk, Why Portugal, the Real Reason Portugal is Attracting Foreign Investment. I think it's important to start with my own personal story to ultimately arrive at the eureka moment. I am originally Singaporean, of Indian descent, who later took on British nationality, later on in my life. To make matters more complicated, I met and married a Swiss gentleman from Zurich in London. The year after we got married, we moved to Portugal for business opportunity in 2001. So for me, when I reflect upon this topic, why did we come here? The business opportunity was in hotels and real estate at the time. And Portugal, in 2001, had been a member of the European Union for 15 years. So infrastructure funds were pouring in, connecting the north to the south, east to the west. Highways were being built. Airports were increasing capacity. So connectivity was improving within the country. Connectivity was also improving outside the country, with the airports that were increasing capacity, for example. Low-cost airlines were changing travel within Europe. Important time and events to increase awareness of a destination too. Portugal, at that time for us as foreigners, was the most undiscovered country within Western Europe, but was an amazing tourism destination. This is what we discovered. So, in 2001, we bought a house in Lagos in the Algarve and left London for the Algarve. And we started our business in our house in the basement. And initially, we were supposed to be here for 5 years. 18 years, 4 children, and more hotels and real estate later, here we are still. I think that's the start of my story, really. What is Portugal? So again, I delivered these points to you as a foreigner. So I know there's much more to this whole story, why Portugal, but I'm trying to focus on the things that I see that are quite interesting, different, to lead to my eureka moment for you. There's no doubt that Portugal is trending as a country, as a tourism destination today. It has amazing restaurants, really talented chefs. It has chic and cool boutique hotels, lots of interesting products and brands emerging from every part of Portugal. You know you're trending when magazines like Monocle are talking about you. So, Portugal is an authentic country. It's modern, it's European, but it still has this old world charm about it. It is historical. For me, again, as a foreigner, Portugal has a huge history behind it for such a small country. Now, when I started delving into this topic of history of Portugal, the thing that most amazed me, the person that most amazed me was this venture capitalist from the 15th century called Prince Henry the Navigator, who poured the crown's resources into the research and development of navigation. He can be credited for catapulting Portugal to punch above its weight during the Age of Discoveries. This era brought a lot of wealth to Portugal for decades and generations. It is powered by eco. Portugal is leading in the arena of sustainable energy production. For 1 month last year, Portugal produced enough renewable energy to sustain the whole country. That's something to be proud of. there is a commitment going forward to increase renewable energy production and to decrease reliance on fossil fuels. Everybody knows by now, or most people do, this, always more people to discover Portugal, but most people know that it is a beautiful country. You have over 900 kilometers of beautiful coastline. You have amazing islands like Madeira and the Azores. You have white sandy beaches. You have hectares of cork and olive plantations, scenic vineyards, beautiful rivers and mountain ranges. For years, I've been calling Portugal the California of Europe. And it's true, for years. If I were to explain to a foreigner who's never been to Portugal before, I start with this California of Europe hashtag. Now, more recently, Portugal is getting recognized for some other factors. The quality of lifestyle. So, over the years, this California of Europe hashtag took on more and more meaning for me. After all, what is lifestyle? It's about connectivity. Lisbon Airport, for example, being at the westernmost point of continental Europe, is only 7 to 9 hours away from the eastern seaboard of the Americas, as well as the Middle East. It's only a few hours away from anywhere else in Europe, as well as Northern Africa. It's important for someone as a foreigner who is thinking about relocating, for example. Lifestyle is also about convenience. We have late-night shopping here. We have Sunday shopping. Ease of access to goods and services to be valued. Lifestyle is also living in a temperate climate throughout the year. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and lots of sunshine. We've got a lot of sunshine, even on mainland Portugal, not just in Madeira. We have many sunny days, and we have clean air. Not to be underestimated. Now, lifestyle is also about access to nature, access to high-quality food. It's about living in safety and security. Portugal ranks highly on all these points. It's a great place for education. I know there's always room for improvement everywhere, but Portugal's universities produce a high number of engineers, IT graduates, scientists that are needed by many companies that are thinking of moving to Portugal now. However, I'd like to point to something else that may not be widely talked about. It's the foreign students who are coming here for master's programs because they're attracted by, first of all, the programs being taught in English by these top universities, the quality of education, but also the lifestyle that I referred to earlier. Education can also become an export, a successful export, as it has for so many other countries in the world. Now, this image is of Nova School of Business and Economics, newly built campus, just on the beach of Carcavelos in mainland Portugal, very near Lisbon. Now, who wouldn't like to study there as a foreigner coming from Northern Europe or further afield? I know I'd like to go back to school, just for that. Portugal has been getting some exposure as a tech startup scene for some years now. But since Web Summit, the world's largest tech conference, announced Lisbon as its host city in 2016, this scene has been attracting a lot of attention and indeed has received a huge boost and started seeing immense growth. The fact that Portugal also has had its first couple of unicorns, companies valued over $1 billion, has been focusing the world's attention on us. Web Summit has now announced that Lisbon will be its host city for the next 10 years. So this growth is certain to continue. The Portuguese government has also introduced some initiatives to simplify procedures and processes, to remove some red tape when it comes to venture capital companies and private equity companies want to set up shop in Portugal. And this is fantastic news for the startup scene. So, an industry that's getting shaken up. Yes, and the government has also announced a series of investment initiatives and incentives over the years, residence programs like the Golden Visa, Green Visa, startup visas, tax incentives like the flat tax of 20%, subsidies for film production, government co-investment schemes for startups. And there's no doubt that all these incentives have brought lots of foreigners and immigrants and indeed money, human capital, as well as financial capital to Portugal. Billions have flown into the country. And while I accept that all these other reasons I spoke about are very important for foreign direct investment in Portugal, I'd like to touch upon an emotional reason that I have observed over the years, over the last 18 years as a foreigner in your country. That's not talked about that much in brochures, as you can imagine, because it's emotional. And it's the people, it's you, the Portuguese people. Portugal ranks very highly on the Global Peace Index. Portuguese people are welcoming of foreigners. You show us foreigners warmth and hospitality, which is why the hospitality industry is doing well, which is great for us. Portuguese people are all heart. They're family-centric in the sense that they love their children, they care for their children, they support their children, which reflects in society later on when they become adults, as we've heard earlier today. You can only love if you're taught love, and I think in Portugal you do that extremely well as parents. People are respectful here of the older generation, of the elderly. People look after their parents and grandparents. They value them. They value their advice. They spend time with them. People have time to spend with the older generation. And this is wonderful. Portugal is the most open, tolerant, and liberal society I have ever lived in. People here welcome others from other countries of different religions, beliefs, colors, and welcome them with open arms. And this is worth a lot, especially in today's times. After all, we are human beings and not robots, and we need to feel welcome where we invest and live. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my aha moment for you. I hope that you agree with it, because this is my observation of having observed my own life, but also having observed foreigners who are living here and talking to them. And we all feel the same way. And we thank you for receiving us with open arms as foreigners. So I thank all of you for listening to my talk. And I have only one thing left to say: Força Portugal.